Okay, Nazma.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for joining us today to discuss a very heavy and uncomfortable topic: stop human trafficking, drugs, and child exploitation. While this topic isn't something we want to hear about, the fact of the matter is that we must talk about all three of the issues which have plagued and continue to plague our society. Today, we are blessed to have somebody who has been working to tackle the issue. And rather than me even trying to provide with an icebreaker, I think we should just jump right in and have Zerka Tahir share with us what this topic really means and what she's doing and how we can help. Zerka Tahir started her career in the corporate world as a service manager and trainer at Citibank in the 90s. During frequent trips to Pakistan, she worked on community service projects with her husband and two boys. Voluntary work in Toronto gave her an insight into learning for children. Due to the death of her brother-in-law, she moved to Pakistan. It was during this time that she and her husband saw firsthand the condition of the marginalized village population of South Punjab. Later, she and her husband founded SID, Sustainable Intervention Drive. While she catered to community work, she and her husband continued voluntary services in Lahore. She also expanded a cable and communication network. She's also the CEO of a company, and besides the commercial potential of the project, this has been an opportunity to raise awareness and provide jobs. Furthermore, Zerka has developed her own little farmland and sees it as a future venture to explore the potential of an agro-based business. As a family, she firmly believes that the community should reap the benefit of every profitable venture, this being the only roadmap of the sustainability of all. On the pure community service side, after years of voluntary work with different not-for-profit organizations, primarily SOS and Akhuwat, specializing in making learning spaces, she started the Learning Hub project for the children and families in the inner city of Lahore, residing inside or in the spillways of the renowned Hira Mandi red light area of Lahore. This project, founded by SID in collaboration with Akhuwat, the walled city of Lahore Authority, and the Punjab AIDS Control Program, was inaugurated on 23rd March 2018. Zerka, we greatly appreciate you joining us today. This is a very heavy topic and we are ready to learn from you.
It is not just a heavy topic, it is a very complicated topic, and there is no single talk that could cover the diversity of it all. So as you said, jumping right into it, first of all, we have to realize that it is a topic. It is something that has affected the world, not globally, not just an issue with Pakistan. It is an issue worldwide. And these are all interconnected. When we talk about human trafficking, we talk about prostitution, we talk about child exploitation, and obviously then we talk about drugs. All these things go hand in glove. And my particular now area of interest is basically the children who are either living in brothels or in the vicinity. The reason that I have concentrated on children is that even when we do from a very pragmatic and not from an emotional standpoint, and we are looking at a marketing technique or something, we look where the impact would be the greatest and where the long-term results are going to be more. So that is why we picked up children. And I started working with the families of the red light area. Now, we moved into the families because the decision makers at the end of the day are going to be their parents. So we started with children, moved on to their parents, and then it says it takes a community to raise a child. So we moved into the larger community of the red light areas, in which there were other people who did not participate. I mean, they were not into prostitution or trafficking or drugs. But either because their homes were there and they were ancestral homes, or they were too poor and couldn't move, so they were living there as well. But their children were as much at risk, and we wanted to integrate these children with the rest of the community as well. After we moved into the bigger community of the area, we again moved on to people and the society in general, and then to government as well. And that also involved government departments like NADRA, getting them identity cards. Um, I always say this is like battling the Hydra. You chop off one head and two appear. So there is no one-stop solution to this issue. And so we are dealing with it from all perspectives, from all angles. But now if I would like to say that what should we do? First of all, uh, think of it as a problem, not on the back burner, and get it off the back burner. Put it there in front of people, whether they like talking about it or they don't like talking about it. It is a crime, it has been committed, and as a civic society, we need to address it. And we do not need to protect our children. I always say that my two boys, who are teenagers, they learned to respect women by going to the red light area. For them, this woman was no longer a sex worker, or, when you go to watch a dance or a mujra and you throw money over her, she for them became the mother of 2-year-old Adam. She became the mother of this little boy they were playing soccer with. So we took these women away from the context of the dancing girl and introduced them to the youth as just mothers or sisters or daughters or just human beings who have a normal everyday life, or cooking, cleaning, yelling at the kids the same way I yell at mine. So, and we introduced, other than my boys, we had more and more volunteers come in. So this silence, this thing we've created, it's not a topic to be discussed. Kids should not be going to they should not be exposed to this. I tell you, kids are mature these days. They know a lot more. Information is just a click away. So what are we protecting them from? So address the issue. First thing is make people aware. Second is that we do not have data on this. There was a report that's published by Tahir of child abuse and cases, which is really good. But again, there is no overall data. When even I started to work in the red light areas, I was fed with a lot of, there were books about it, there were movies about it, there's all that romance about it. I still live in that Umrao Janada phase or whatever. But did anyone talk about the children of the area? And I always say that the children are the collateral damage. They existed when the red light area in its heyday, when it was all glitter and glamour, and they still were there in a back room behind somewhere, and they're still there. So they haven't changed over years, and we haven't addressed their issues. So the first thing is that put it out there, put it to the people, like you people are doing, like take it as an issue and as a problem that is going to infect our society. When someone asked me that, why are you investing so much time and energy into this? And I said that, okay, fine. Don't spend on this, but start putting money aside to spend on your prisons and your health services, because that's where this is heading if you don't nip it in the bud. And these are children who are growing up without any standards, any morals, any upbringing, any care. So you could mold them into anything that you want. And so that is the first thing. Second, of course, is get more data, get more numbers. When people ask me about numbers, I said that when you're in the middle of a forest fire, you don't count the trees that are burning. You just try to put out the fire. So that's what you guide for the people outside to figure out how much of cover are we losing, where is the fire coming from, how to prevent it. Let me be on the inside. I will give you information from the inside, but you do the outside job. So, and then other practical steps like we did with the Natra ID cards. Just a few days ago, a 72-year-old woman held her first identity card in her hand. And we are going to be giving her 72 gifts, by the way, for all the birthdays that she missed out on. Um, and that is a document that proves that she is a human being. She at 72, I don't know what she really would need it for, but right now she needs it to say that she exists. So she's there. And obviously, yes, we do need it for getting her a health card as well, because even to get her vaccinated. Um, so these now we are coming down to the more concrete and practical steps. We are working with the Child Protection Bureau. I am going to be like, I'm more interested now in looking at the legislature that is there regarding the rights of children. How much protection do they have if they are exploited? Because here we are talking about children exploited by none other than their own mother. So it becomes even more complicated because it's in a society where you think that everywhere in the world, parent is the person who's supposed to protect you. But when you're supposed to protect a kid from the parent, how much will the law be on your side? So there's so many things to do here, and that's why I want to invite more and more people to look into this. And I would rather that if anyone has any questions in their mind, it should be more that than otherwise, I could go on talking 24/7 and it's not going to end.
Yes, Zerka, thank you very much. We got a ton of questions. In fact, more that we can cover in this today's webinar. एक बात जो लोग किसी ने इसमें ईमेल भेजी थी और शी आस्क्ड कि पाकिस्तान में औरत के तहफ़्फ़ुज़ की तो बात की जाती है, ये बच्चों की जो हु आर विक्टिमाइज्ड बाय इवन लाइक हम ज्यादा लड़कियों की बात करते हैं, व्हाट अबाउट द बॉयज एंड द विक्टिमाइजेशन ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन, उसकी बात नहीं की जाती. व्हाट डू यू हैव टू से अबाउट दैट?
Definitely true. Actually, in the last few years, the cases of abuse of boys has been on the increase. I was just looking at the figures. It's there are 51% girls in 2020 and 49% boys, which is a higher percentage than last year. But and the other strange, another statistic, that's why I say data is important. Another statistics is that there are more boys who are at risk at the age from 11 to 15 or 16.
Oh, wow.
So one has to not take it as a girl or a boy issue, a woman or a man issue. It has to be about children, and because they are defenseless. You see all these rallies of people going out for women, for transgenders. I always think that these children, they cannot vote, they haven't voting rights, so there is not a lobby. They do not pull economic strings. They do not have a voice. They cannot talk for themselves. So what are we doing? What are we here for? So this whoever has pointed this out has rightly done so. That you get that mindset out. Just think of the exploiter and the exploited. If a man beats a woman, believe me, a woman beats a child. At times even more brutally than any man. What I've seen in the red light area is kids being beaten physically too, and mentally, obviously. More at the hands of their mothers than a man. So very, very rightly put, we have to look at a child, we have to forget about gender, we have to forget about nationality, we have to forget about religion. We just need to protect the child.
Thank you very much. One question is, will the photo ID that you were mentioning earlier, will that deter trafficking?
I can't say 100%, but these are little steps. The thing is that when you usually, and unfortunately, there's a huge demand for young girls, even like as young as 11 or 12 or 13 or 14. So the easiest way is to get their fake documents and show them to be at age 18. Like I have an incident just a few days ago of a young girl, and she's about 22, but on papers she's 30, and we figured out that her brother had made her fake ID cards because they wanted to send her for, it's usually 3 lakh rupees for 3 months. So they had to send her, and so they got all the fake documents made. Now, obviously, it's going to be, he would still manage to get the documents maybe, but still it's going to be difficult. We try to make them, we don't want to give them a easy playing field. We want to create some hindrances. And then the second thing is, any kind of an identity document makes you traceable. Like whenever a crime is committed, what is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to look at the fingerprints, you're going to look at the photo ID, you can trace them. And obviously, when it becomes to disappearance of girls, or even boys, then if they have some mark, some identity everywhere that they go, it would be easy to trace them. So we do feel that once, if they are, and their right age will be recorded once. So if the girl is 14, she'll be 14, next year she'll be 15. She's not going to jump 7 years and at once become an adult and be ready to go off for dancing. Actually, they don't get a license for sex work, they get a license for dancing. It's a cover. But we want to blow that cover as well, because you can't send a 14-year-old for, that would come in child labor if it wouldn't come under child prostitution. So yes, it does have its effect in that way, and plus it also documents the correct family tree of the child. Because even in future, there can be problems regarding property, there can be disputes, like who the child really belongs to. And then you can at least, when the child grows up and has, when they really need that identity document, they will have an authentic thing, which is, identity is always of value. And it is not even a question whether what its benefits are. It's a basic human right, and even in the United Nations, it's like it's addressed as a right that every child has a right to have an identity.
There's a question: if I suspect child abuse, where do I go and how do I report it?
Every country has a number. I think in Pakistan it's 1121. But just look it up. Every country that you go to will have social security services, will have numbers that, in fact, in your phone, have all the numbers for all emergency services put there, whether it's for fire, whether it's for crime, it's for, we are a civilized society. What's the point of living in communities and having all these departments when each individual is not playing their part? When you go to a foreign country, you're going on a trip, the first thing, download all the numbers, the emergency numbers on your phone. So just do that. Just have that number. If you call them up in Pakistan, it's 1121. If you call them up, it connects to the Child Protection Bureau, and they do take. In fact, when I go out, if I see a woman with a child or a man with a child or just a child begging, I take a picture, I put the location and the time down, and I send it to the Child Protection Bureau. And what happens from there is they send their team over, and they are apprehended. They have a court there as well. So then, if that is the legal parent, they have to go through the court to get the child back. Because believe it or not, some children are sold, not actually sold, but are rented out for begging. So you can rent a baby, you can beg, and you can give the baby back. At times, the only problem is that they give an overdose of drugs to the child so that they sleep through the time that the woman is begging. And sometimes they overdo it. So we have problems in that area as well. But yes, please keep carrying numbers all the time of helplines where you can report something immediately if you suspect something. But before that, even tell your children, everyone. Now there's so much information on how to go about it. Be the right parent and be the right citizen at the same time.
Prostitution is the oldest profession. Has there been any study done on this? I know that's going to upset you.
I don't know why people keep saying prostitution is a profession. Like you have to study for a profession. Am I supposed to open a school where I teach how to be a good prostitute? What are the steps to becoming the top prostitute? People have to stop saying that. Okay, a profession is also something that you make money from, right? So that's why maybe you call it a profession, because it has got all the ingredients otherwise of a profession that you're buying and selling, and it's a commodity, it's a product that you're selling. But then it's a crime. So if someone sells their kidneys, is that okay too? Because it's a profession, it's your kidney, you're selling it, so fine, what's the problem? You want to take your life, you want to do anything, should there be some rules set? So no is not a profession, and there should not be any study done on it. I was talking to this promoter the other day. Promoter actually, the first time I heard this word was when a child who was studying in the learning hubs. Usually we only get mothers and there are no fathers. But this time we got both parents, and I was really happy. Like this is one regular family that's coming out, both parents there. And until I asked what the father did, and they said the father was a promoter, and I was thinking that that's his profession, unless they told me that he promoted girls. So he was a promoter, which is a more nicer name for a pimp. Because you see, it's a profession. So get that out. It's not a profession. He was a parent who was selling girls, and it was a crime. So it's a crime in my books. People may differ with that, but it's not a profession.
Yes, it's a crime. High ratio of children falling into addiction is because of the lack of awareness. Instead of training or giving awareness to children, why not train the parents?
What if the parents are the suppliers of the drugs in some cases? I mean, we're talking now of the red light area. If you talk in general, as drug addiction as a problem among the youth, yes, you need to educate parents. In the red light areas, you need to educate children to kind of educate their parents on because the recent incident we had when 4 of our boys were taking drugs, and this was supplied by an 11-year-old, and when I called him and he said that Baba gave it to me to sell, then I called dear dad, and I asked him, and he was there's one thing, these people are honest, and he said that yes, I did ask him to sell the drugs, but I didn't ask him to sell it to his friends. So, well, I said he's a smart kid. He just wanted to make some extra money. The education about drugs, first of all, start with yourself. Are we educated about drugs? On 25th May of this year, I wrote a letter, and I just wrote to whom it may concern or to those who are concerned. And I gave with pictures all the locations where there were drug addicts. They were sitting there, taking drugs, putting injections, and this was right where there was a police station. This was the main road in Pakistan, and both sides people were watching and going by their way. It's like they were not watching actually, they didn't probably even notice them. So what has happened is that drug addiction has become accepted, not just in Pakistan, but even if you go to other countries, what you see is that people have started taking it as the normal thing. So yes, educate everyone about the problem of addiction. Show them the numbers. I think it's over 1 crore people who are addicted in Pakistan, and we have about 95 drug rehab centers. The 95 drug rehab centers have a capacity, 95 to 100, whatever, but they have a capacity of about 200,000 people whom they can accommodate. What happens to the rest of them? And when I say about, figures होते like 1.5 crore, 2 crore, but when we're talking about 2 crore, we're talking about 2 crore addicts, but what about the families around them? Because they're all affected and impacted by it. The numbers are huge and they just grow. So create an awareness, and again, there is treat these things as not normal, because sometimes when it happens around you and you're just seeing it, it seems like it's just a normal thing, which it's not. So address the issue. It has to be addressed at the grassroots level. Then there has to be legal actions against it. There have to be punishments about it, like the possession of it, and then there have to be drug rehab centers. Also, the drug rehab centers that we have, they're only covering the detox effect mostly. Actually, the treatment of addiction starts after the 3 months period, which can be up to even 2 years, because your addiction, your body gives up addiction, your mind doesn't. So they all go back into it unless you address the issue as a whole.
Ali, do we have any?
Yes. Ms. Zerka, we have a question here in the chat. First, I'll read sort of a comment. It's from Ms. Tariq. There should be a collaborative effort for awareness, education regarding addiction. Hometown Community Foundation has taken initiative. I believe that's an organization. We are in this field since 3 years. We've been in this field for 3 years. What is addiction? How does it affect body, mind, and soul? A disease who not only affects the person, also destroys the environment. And then she says, Dr. Maqsood Ahmed has taken initiative with collaborative care model. I don't know if you know Dr. Maqsood. I'm not sure.
I would like to get to know him. Addiction, obviously, first you have to understand what addiction is. I mean, just taking one-off drugs where people try it for a while is not addiction. When your dependence comes to a level that it affects your life, the normal running of your life is impacted. And this becomes, as the word implies, to, and then there are different substances. There's substance abuse, basically. So when people think of addiction, they usually think of hardcore drugs. We have addiction of smudborne, which is a glue-like substance as well, that boys start from. There's addiction of cough syrups, especially popular among the females and in prostitutes, that they take 3 or 4 bottles of cough syrup at a go, and then it leads on to more lethal forms of addiction. Like we have this sex worker right now who was just started with alcohol, then sniffing powder, and now she's taking injections. And also we have also to address the related diseases. The problem is, I hope I can connect with this group. Right now, the problem I'm facing is that we have, like, we put 5 youth from the learning clubs into a drug rehab center in Fountain House and Prabhupada. But the thing is that out of those 5, 4 of them were HIV positive. Now, the HIV positive cases, there is no rehab center for them if they are drug users as well. So the drug centers don't take HIV positive cases. The HIV don't have the facility to cater to the drug problem in them. Yes, we should all collaborate. Uh, Find out, because there's some organizations that say that we work only on the awareness level. There's some say we work on treatment. Why can't we get to know the best practices? Like, why reinvent the wheel? Let's get together on one forum, because please do understand, this is too huge an issue. This is too big a problem. And the other thing that you have got to remember is that whom is it affecting? It is affecting kids and the youth. If we say that, oh, Pakistan's population is made of young people, and that which is supposed to be a merit becomes a demerit when that young population is doped and they are addicts. And then the danger of addiction, which is another one, is that it is related to all other crimes. Our boys who are learning us, age 12, took us from he told us that what the drugs which are available. It started from Gutka to Pan to Captain to 101 to Dunhill Switch and these were words from him, and these are not Masti Valley Goli, and I didn't want him to elaborate what Masti Valley Goli does to you. Cocaine, heroin, injection shots, vodka. There was an entire list that he had that was available in those streets. And the way it works is that you start with stealing here and there to get your drugs, but then what they say is that if you get when there's no more to steal and you're not joining the big gangs, what you can do is that if you get 2 more addicts, yours is free. So that's why this is so dangerous. And the reasons at times are not lack of education and awareness. At times it's just like, what the heck, let's just try that. And you have a group of friends sitting together, especially in these areas, nothing better to do, and you pass a cigarette around. Many times, like the boys that we sent to the drug rehab, and one of them is in a hospital and probably would not make it. He started when he was 14. Most of them tell me the same story. They said they were with a group of friends and they were all, so it wasn't like what we think that, it was lack of education or awareness or, I think it was just too much free time in their hands, nothing better to do. And this is the other thing that we have found out that really worked with these 4 boys, and which I think maybe we should work more towards, getting them involved in sports. Now, the 4 boys that we had, and who were trying out drugs and joints, and then we moved them into martial arts classes. In the red light area, there's one thing you can never do. You cannot wake up anyone in the morning. That's like no way you can do that. So we had a group of social mobilizers. Usually they are former sex workers or dancing girls, and their job, and they're old, there's nothing to do. We give them a stipend, but for that they have to go to houses and literally drag kids out of bed and kind of bring them to school. So that's the usual practice. Now these kids were taking drugs, and what we said was that if you do that, we're not going to put you into martial arts classes. The martial arts class starts at 8. Believe me, all the boys are coming now at 7:30 in the morning. They jog in the park, over the bridge, there's hardly a park over there. Then they come on the rooftop, have the martial art classes. They have not touched a cigarette since they have gone on to level 2 of martial arts. And so not just that, we're starting one for girls too now, so that we can get them away from TikTok videos. Not the good TikTok videos, I'm talking about the ones that are on vulgar numbers or whatever. So anyways, so we're starting martial arts for them as well. So if they want to make a TikTok video, they can make a TikTok video of good stuff. So involving children in sports, I think, is a sure way of getting them off addiction. They are concerned about their body, they want to be fit, and they know drugs is not going to do that for them. And the other thing is that keep them busy. The only people, because over there, I usually ask, I don't ask why do you do drugs, I ask why don't you do drugs, like, because of the conditions there. So that's it, just get them involved, keep them busy, and move into sports if you want to fight addiction, one of the ways.
I will definitely share Dr. Maksud's number with you. Just like Dr. Zishan, you spoke to him. They're working with Fountainhead. So Dr. Maksud is like doing a lot of work in Pakistan. And I think the collaboration that Mehvish is talking about, that can benefit these children.
Okay.
What are the different types of human trafficking?
Different types of, there's only one type of human trafficking. I know you pick someone up and you kind of send them illegally somewhere in the world for some purpose which is not legal. So, there's sex traffickers that send girls and boys for sex work. Then they are for cheap labor. So there are different reasons why you would take someone. My concern is mostly with the trafficking of children. But the problem is that when those who are involved in trafficking, they make false documents. So even if someone says that here are a few girls who were sent, but they're adults, I'm skeptical about it, because I know that they will probably be 13, 14, and on paper they would be 18, 19. Again, why we are getting the ID cards made. Trafficking can be for various purposes. There was once when there were camel jockeys. Thank God that was banned.
Right.
Human cruelty knows no limit. There can be, and it knows no nationality. It knows no creed. So wherever there's a profit, there will be trafficking. And when you take away the profit, if we have time, I'll give you an example. When people will find it strange, but when you work in the red light areas, you have to start learning their language and learning the ropes. So we have to look at somehow to get the girls to start coming to learning us, at least for us to get a chance. So there's this father, who is a promoter, and he says that he had given some money to his sister on loan, and it was a huge amount. And because he didn't want the sister to have any connection with him, she has 2 little daughters whom we wanted to be away from that part of the family. So we said that we will repay her loan. And so he came over and he was going to do the documents. And then he said, I would have never asked my sister to give me back the money had it not been for COVID, because I can no longer get deals for my daughter. And then he said that, but I'm not worried. I've heard on the 21st things are going to open. And then I said to him that, is it possible that you don't send your daughter? And he said that, no, there's so many households that benefit from this. So again, it was like a profession term. So when he was talking about trafficking, then what he understood was that there was a dip in business because Russian girls are more pretty and Indian girls are less expensive. I don't know if I should say these things, but that is the truth of the matter. And that is why there was less market for girls from Pakistan. The other thing that he said, which was an eye-opener for us, is that his business is being affected because he's not educated. Most of the business now is done through bookings on the computer. So you don't need the promoter or the middleman. And we realized that if we just concentrate on education or not building character, not building these children up, this will just be a way. He was looking at a computer as if it was a lifeline, and if only he knew, and he wasn't thinking that if I knew the computer, I would be working in an office, I would be doing a job. He was looking at a computer and thinking, if only I knew how to run that machine, I would be sitting at home making bookings for my daughter. So trafficking as a whole I mean, we've diverted from the question, but the thing is that it has to be addressed. There are different types, different forms of it. Some legal action has to be taken on it.
So in your opinion, what is the root cause of human trafficking? Is it lack of education or is it poverty?
It's lack of being human. I don't want to say anymore. That's just it.
Are diplomatic solutions to human trafficking enough to affect change?
I said in the beginning, it's like battling the hydra. You chop off one head to repair. So what do you need? How do you battle it? Either you tame it or you get more reinforcement. So diplomatic channels, individual work, legal action, whatever, anything that needs to be done, needs to be done. There is no one solution, and maybe that is why these forums are important, where people from diverse groups, people from diverse disciplines, people with different networks can collaborate and, like, say, start. I mean, this is something that has been going on. I have been working in community service for a very long time. I worked with children. Believe me, up till now, I did not even know that this problem existed. So, and this problem is not small, it is huge. So any and every kind of solutions, there have to be legal action or laws between countries as well to expedite issues relating to these matters, not just these issues. The problem is when they get delayed, when there's no expediency attached to it, everything gets filtered down. So nothing in the end happens. So what I say is let everyone get together and work out stepwise a solution to these issues.
These children, as I see, are definitely paying for the sins of their parents. So how do
not their parents.
I'm sorry?
They are paying for our sins.
Yeah.
We are, for me, the most empowering statement in the world, or in any literature, is simply, I am to blame. If the fault is mine, then the solution is in my hands.
What do you suggest is the solution?
If I blame the parents, the society, XYZ, my neighbor, the goat down the road, then that goat has the solution. I am to blame, it's my fault, and so I have the solution to it. So not the parents' fault, it's my fault as well.
Thank you very much. So what do you think is what can we do individually? What can I do?
First, number one, read up on this issue as much as you can, possibly can. Number two, if there is such an area in your vicinity and it's okay that you can go there, visit it. If there is not, connect in some way to any child service that is within that area. Number three, what you can do is, if there is an online service available anywhere, be a mentor. We have a mentorship program. We have these two girls, Mariam and Neva, who are social activists in Canada. And both of them and I'll just tell you what impact they had. They are talking to these 5 girls. These 5 girls used to make TikTok videos. And after they've been conversing with Mariam and Neva, there was a picture of them with Trudeau. And I said to these girls, see, they make videos and they pose with a PM. And you make videos. And do you want me to show you the people who see your videos and what they do? So what has happened in practical terms is those 5 girls have deleted their TikTok accounts. Wow. Just because the influence of this mentorship program. So you can be a mentor. One can be a leader or one can be a follower. If you can make your own organization, by all means do so. If you cannot, then join an established one. Or also look for the public service facilities that are available. If there's like a child protection bureau, because when we talk about impact, one has to look at the government as well, because that is where the impact is. Whatever your field is, for instance, if you're a lawyer, read up on the legislature, read up on the laws relating to children, and then see if you can have a broader impact. You can look at the laws where the flaws are, or how you can contribute. If you're a doctor, even online, medication and things that can be well. Whatever, whoever you are, just get the facts and connect.
Definitely. Thank you very much. I think many of our members will be willing to, take part in the mentorship. And I think a bunch of our doctors have already committed to it. So I will definitely talk to you. Yes.
Well, I'll just give you one example, because this happened right now while I was talking to you. Mm-hmm. We have a child who is, they come from a musician family. They call them Marasi over there.
Right.
And we had a person who has done her master's in musicology from abroad. She came over in her nice car, and she's got a clothing lineup industry as well. And first the boys sang, and then she started singing and telling them about Sura and Tal and how to, and I could see their jaws dropped and looked at her. And when she left, this oldest boy, who is not interested in studies at all, and his only passion is music and singing. He asked who was this woman, because it was like, she's in this flashy car, she's so, and she's singing, which everyone else is telling me not to do. And then I told him about him, and then I asked him one question. I said, Zain, tell me something. You have people in your family who sing better. You've got people in your family who play musical instruments better than all these people who come and play here from all these families and in their flashy cars or whatever. But what's the difference? Where did we all go so wrong? You know what he said to me? He said, ma'am, education. And what happened today was that we had a group called People from Humanity who came over, and I got a message from her that in your institute, there is this boy Zain. We want to take up his entire education. And I hadn't told her about this incident. And Zain was one boy who was not at all interested in studies. And I said, why? And that's great, but why did you pick up Zain? He said, because he was the only one who came up to me and asked, how educated are you? And he seemed to be so interested in education. So see one woman coming in, giving them a singing lesson, change the life of another human being, maybe forever. So that's where you people come in. So don't think about it that has it to be. Khalil Gibran, he said you give but little when you give up your possessions. It is when you give up yourself that is when you give. So we don't need that kind of funding. We need people. We need. हमारे एक बच्चे ने कहा था कि आप लोग हमारे बारे में कितना सोचते हैं. So I want you all to do that, to think about them, to think about these children and connect with them. The rest follows through.
Thank you very much, Zerka. We have Dr. Zishan. He's also one of the few doctors who has kind of done so much for the children, and he's continuing helping us. And I think you spoke to him earlier. Zishan, can you please tell us what other suggestions do you have for us to help these children?
I think I just have a lot of respect, honestly, for Ms. Zerka. I think when I spoke with her, I mean, it's just amazing. बहुत easy होता है कि जो low hanging fruits हों, जो easy चीजें हों उनको करना, but actually मतलब doing it with your heart, क्योंकि जब आप काम करते हो, so जो बंदा काम कर रहा होता है, मतलब उसका is not only कि आप you are just doing it कि अच्छा काम है, नेकी का काम है, but actually doing it because you strongly believe in them.
Right.
Because the main चीज जो मुझे लगती है जो इन communities में it's about believing कि they have the capacity to do something good. क्योंकि उनके parents, ना उनके friends, ना वो खुद, वो उनके ध्यान में ये है कि हम खुद कुछ अच्छा कर सकते हैं. They may be shame about themselves, may think about shame about being part of that community. और मैं यही बात कर रहा था कि शायद कोई भी उन बच्चों की जिंदगी में कोई उनका अपना भी शायद ऐसा ना हो कि जिसने उनके बारे में सोचा हो, उनकी खैर खाही का सोचा हो और इतना डीप लेवल पे सोचा हो और इतनी छोटी हो और इतना ज्यादा कि अच्छा इतनी द नेगोशिएशन उनकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग और की जो लैंग्वेजेस है उस बर्दाश्त करके उसमें घुल मिल के, क्योंकि जब तक आप घुल मिल नहीं जाते, जब तक आप इस कम्युनिटी को, क्योंकि आई थिंक द मेन इशू ट्रस्ट का होता है इन कम्युनिटी में, बिकॉज दे आर वेरी मार्जिनलाइज्ड और ट्रस्ट का होता है, दे डोंट ट्रस्ट एनी पीपल, क्योंकि पीपल जज करते हैं, ठीक है, आवाजें कसते हैं, उनको पहले ही वो एक कम्युनिटी का जो है ना वो एक हिस्सा नहीं समझते. तो कोई भी ऐसी प्लेटफॉर्म, ऐसा एनजीओ या कोई भी ऐसा बंदा या बंदी जब भी वो कोशिश करते हैं तो मेन चीज ये होती है कि ये तो अभी आएंगे, इंटरव्यूज वगैरह करेंगे, कुछ लिखेंगे और फिर गायब हो जाएंगे.
बिल्कुल.
लेकिन उनमें घुल मिल जाना, उनको ये एहसास दिलाना कि हम छोड़ने वाले नहीं हैं, आप बात सुनो, आज नहीं सुनोगे हम दोबारा आ जाएंगे. तो दैट्स व्हाट आई लर्नड अबाउट, जब मैंने उससे बात की, एंड इट्स जस्ट an honor, and it just जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं, I really want to respect, really want to appreciate, really want to pray for their struggle, for their the strength, for their it's a lot of work, or and जो भी इसमें मतलब करेगा, definitely you, and it's just a lot of satisfaction. तो I agree, इसमें पैसों का इतना नहीं होता, इसमें definitely need people कि जो उसी पैशन से, उसी कमिटमेंट के साथ उनमें मतलब बगैर जजमेंट के, बगैर बीइंग डिफेंसिव, बगैर बीइंग कि ये क्या है, ये मैं इतने दिनों से बात कर रहा था, एक बात इनको समझ नहीं आती, just be open and just be there to help unconditionally, without saying कि अब मैंने 6 महीने लगा दिए और ये कोई बात नहीं सुन रहा, without just giving them unconditional. And I think जो भी ये काम कर रहे हैं, I think it's just unbelievable. So I just feel honored to be part of it, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Zerka. Thank you very much, Dr. Zishan, Mehwish. Zerka, I will, of course, stay in touch with you, and we will continue doing whatever we can. One thing we do have, we have passion, and we love children. सारे बच्चे जिस तरह आपने बोला है कि इन बच्चों के लिए, just because we are here and they are there, किसी ना किसी तरीके से we can connect with them, and inshallah ta'ala we will.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Nice.